make sure that the general purpose is easy to follow. There's 4 different general purposes when you're doing a speech: inform, persuade, entertain, or inspire. I found it that the purpose, to me, the general purposes were inform and persuade. Then I found the specific purpose was pretty easy to follow. It's to get creative juices flowing. When you're doing any sort of speech, it's important to make sure your general and your specific purposes are outlined very quickly. And I found that it was easy for me to follow the speech. I also found that the introduction led right into the body, and the body led right into the conclusion. That's important. It was clearly structured. It was, here's what I'm going to tell you about, and Peter told us very quickly that he was talking about creativity. Then I'm going to tell you about it, and then here's what I just told you about. I found the structure was very easy to follow. In the body, the three points, the reconceptualizing the problem, the abstain from the same routine, and daydreams, all related back to the specific purpose of trying to get us to think more creatively, or ways to get us to be more creative. As I said, the conclusion then wrapped up those 3 points. And that's important in any sort of speech, so you understand, okay, he's going to talk about this, he talked about it, and then when you leave, you know exactly what it is that he talked about, because Peter reinforced it with it. Some of the recommendations that I would like to make as Peter moves forward into the speeches is, one of the objectives was try to convey sincerity and conviction, so that me as the audience, I believe what it is that he's saying. I found that there's some room for improvement there. Here are some of my suggestions to help with that. The stories were great. The Dr. Seuss, the other ones reinforced the purpose, but I thought it might have been great to have some personal stories that Peter was talking. Then he didn't have to rely on his notes as much. That might get him a little more confident. Then it kind of brings me into it a bit more to say, okay, this is how Peter is using these creativity, and it gives me an understanding there as well. Another recommendation I would use is actually starting off with the speech, the introduction. I didn't find that it was attention grabbing. I think maybe starting with a quote, starting with a question, starting with something that gets your attention. Personally, when I do that, I start to relax a little bit, because okay, I've got their attention, I feel a little bit better, and then I'm able to go through it. That'll help me build sincerity, help me build conviction. I would also recommend the pauses and the pace. I found that because Peter was reading, that it was a little quick, it was a little difficult for me to pick up what his points were, perhaps some pauses. And doing pauses will actually help when it comes to being a little more relaxed. If you look a little more relaxed, you feel a little more relaxed, people are going to take, okay, he's sincere and he's talking about what he knows. What I found to be very effective was the transitions. It was easy to follow. Okay, I'm ending my introduction, now my first point, my second point, my third point, and then the conclusion, and then we all should be more creative. I'm going to take away one thing from Peter's speech. It's okay to daydream. So from now on, if you see me over there just going like this, it's because Peter said it's okay.
Let's put our hands together and welcome.
Fellow Toastmasters, one of the things I really like about Krupa's speeches is that they are always an interesting history lesson, and I always learn something. Today I learned where the word car came from.